What's up, beautiful people? I'm just popping on. Been getting a lot of messages, epiphanies, awarenesses around discernment. And discernment is something that I teach and work with my clients on a lot. Discernment meaning the ability to decipher the difference between the higher self, the ego, love versus fear kind of thing. And I had this drop into my awareness yesterday, right before a coaching session, about discernment, right? Because I'm always looking for different ways, different perspectives to share with people on how to hone in and fine tune your discernment, especially in this day and age of lots of information, lots of disinformation. So that's why really being able to trust our intuition is so important as we navigate all of this chaos, right? So what was kind of dropped into my awareness yesterday about discernment is all about embodiment. And really, embodiment just means we are allowing ourselves to be fully present in our body. And, based on how humans have been conditioned and programmed and brainwashed, we've really lived most of our lives in our mind, in our head, the analytical side, right? That left side of the brain. Analyzing, processing, listening, storing information. And we've really been very disconnected from our bodies. And the irony of it is that our spirits signed up to be in the human body, to experience the physicality of this earth plane. And while we're here, most of us spend a lot of our lives disassociating from this human experience. Why? Because it's very painful at times, right? So when you're really fully embodied, meaning you're present in your body, you have pulled your spirit self, your soul, into your body, you become very sensitive. And I'm someone that's been highly sensitive my whole life. I feel like I'm someone who has been embodied for the most part of my life. Now, that does not mean I haven't created behaviors and patterns that numb out, right? I've talked very openly about my use of marijuana, and I really try to utilize it now with more conscious consumption and use it for the plant medicine that it is, and kind of stepping away from using it as a vice as I have in the past. So any form of addiction, right? We all have addictions to a plethora of things. Anything that is a distraction, anything that is used to pull us out of the human experience or numb it out or minimize what's going on. We're all doing this on some level, right? So there's no judgment around it. I have no judgment towards people that are quote unquote alcoholics or drug addicts, because I really recognize that we are all carrying this behavior of addiction in some way, shape, or form, right? So with that said, as someone who's very much been highly sensitive my whole life, things that hurt deeply, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, I hurt deeply when I'm hurt. But to the flip side of that, I also feel joy and abundance and gratitude and love to a very high degree. It's almost like this bipolar kind of reality, to be honest. It's like owning the depth of every feeling, every emotion, and allowing my body to process it and feel it. Not my mind. My mind is doing its own sort of form of processing what's happening, but it's also creating all of these stories around the emotions and the energies that I'm feeling, right? So the mind is very loud. And the body is just, feeling these things. And it's also communicating to us. And those of you that know me or have listened to other videos know that, my body breaking was the beginning of my massive spiritual awakening. It was all of the dis-ease that had been, brewing for some time under the surface that eventually started coming out as symptoms, autoimmune type symptoms, infections, viruses, you name it, right? And I really realized that even though I've been a highly sensitive person my whole life, I wasn't allowing myself to listen to my body. Hence why all of this disease manifested over years. It manifests over, several years of time, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. And then everything in the external environment that is also of a similar vibration is acting as a catalyst for all of those internal, wars that have really been created. So in order to really fine-tune your discernment, you have to allow yourself to feel everything, to whatever magnitude it's coming into your body. Like, allow yourself to feel the pain. This is what it literally means to surrender to this process. It doesn't mean you're that you're succumbing to it, right? Most of our lives, we have succumbed to our pain, and we are very unconsciously projecting that energy out to the world. But when we surrender to these feelings, these emotions, these thoughts, these beliefs, everything, when we surrender to it, we're allowing our body to process it and feel it. We have to be able to feel without numbing out, without distracting, without spiritual bypassing. That is the only way that we can discern energy, right? The only way that I'm really able to read energy outside of me and discern it is because I have sat with myself hours and days and months and years processing and feeling my shit. So I know what fear feels like in my body. I know what love feels like in my body. I know what joy feels like in my body. I know what pain feels like in my body. Like, to the depths and the heights of these emotions, I have felt them. And so this is why I use the mirror concept of how everything outside of me is literally a mirror of me. It is. And my ability to discern things almost instantaneously. I'm at a point now where I can discern energy outside of me almost instantaneously. I'm not even trying to do it anymore. I'm not trying to read the energy of it because I am so present in my body that I can feel it. And because I know what those energies feel like internally, I can very easily observe and discern these energies outside of me. And so for people that are really working on discernment, what is discernment? How do I discern? How do I discern the voices in my head, right? Is it higher self? Is it ego? I've made other very short videos about quick hacks. Is this my higher self? Is this my ego? And, really the ego, again, it operates off of fear because it is the protector of us. So it knows fear, right? But it perpetuates fear. It lives in fear to some degree. The higher self is love. It is that energy of unconditional love. It trusts. It is not afraid of fear. It's not afraid of it. It is not afraid of fear consciousness. Love does not fear fear. Okay, so when you're kind of hearing these voices, at least for me, my higher self is very subtle. It's a very subtle energy that comes in. My ego is very loud because it's been running the show the whole time, right? And it literally can feel that it's losing control over my human self, the more I'm trusting in this intuitive higher self guidance. So the ego gets really fucking loud, right? That's just part of this process. The more you embody your light, the ego's like, whoa, hold it, pump the brakes, what's going on? I'm the one in control, right? So if you're toggling with a decision in your life or just navigating life, and you're starting to connect with this inner wisdom, this true essence of who you are, it's stirring the ego up, right? Just take a deep breath and know that you're not alone, first of all. And just allow yourself to hear both of the voices, because both of them want to be heard. Both of them want to be acknowledged and felt in the body. So the more you allow yourself to listen and feel, listen to your ego. Don't try to shut it off. Don't try to shame it or banish it or all these things that we try to do to like, shut the fuck up, ego. Like, no, don't. Like, listen to your ego from a lens of nurturing compassion, because it has so much wisdom from its experience in this life, right? And when you allow yourself to listen to it, it actually calms down, because now it's being heard, right? It is the fear inside that's being heard. Our fear wants to be heard and acknowledged. That is that shadow, that is that unconsciousness of us. And it literally wants a voice. So when you allow it to speak, but then respond, don't react to it, but respond from this place of love and say, thank you, ego. I appreciate the role that you've played. I appreciate that you have protected me thus far in life. I appreciate your guidance, right? Like, literally talk to it like you would talk to a friend that you love. It starts to just naturally kind of calm down. And then this other subtle energy, voice, or feeling sensation starts to move in, and you just feel it in your body. You feel this like lightness. You feel this peace, really. Like, to me, my higher self is very peaceful. It's not dictating things to me. It's not telling me what I should or shouldn't do. It's guiding me, right? It's guiding me in a very subtle but persistent way. And when I say persistent, it's like, all right, it's dropping these seeds in for me, these seeds of awareness, very subtly, very calmly, very compassionately, no judgment to it, right? But it is going to keep dropping those seeds if I allow my human self to attach to my ego self and follow what that is saying, right? That the higher self, it doesn't give up on us. So it's persistent, but it's not aggressive. My ego is aggressive, right? It lives in the illusion of space and time. So it's always on a time crunch. It's always, focused on the future, but still like stuck in the past. It's very critical. It's judgmental. It is that voice shouldn't. Like, that's a really good way to like a very simple hack. Like, the shouldn't is your ego, because that's judgment. Shouldn't is a form of judgment. So that is your egoic voice speaking to you if you're hearing that shouldn't, right? Higher self will be like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to try. Here's some food that might be very beneficial for your body, right? All these very simple pieces of guidance, but it doesn't pressure you, right? It may be persistent, meaning it's going to keep dropping the seeds in one way, shape, or form, but it's not pushing you, right? There's an aspect of the higher self that pushes us into pushes us out of our comfort zones, right? But I don't even really like to say the word push, because I don't feel like my higher self pushes me. I feel like it's guiding me. I feel like my ego is pushing me this way, that way, tugging me this way, that way, right? My higher self is just like, hey, I'm right here with you. I'm right here beside you. I'm right here inside you, right? And I'm like guiding you through your heart. I'm guiding you. I'm dropping these things in that give you this feeling inside, if you're embodied, if you're in your body. I'm giving you these sensations of empowerment, of alignment, of abundance, of love. And so discernment, my friends, it is such a necessary skill, I feel like, to have, especially as this world continues to evolve and things in the external are just going to get louder. That's part of the evolution. It's literally how this unfolds. It's not bad or good. It's just evolution. But the human will get very confused and will continue to become more confused if it doesn't know how to discern energies, right? we will always be, we'll say, duped by narratives of fear and control and manipulation that are masked as safety, as security, right? We will always be duped by those stories if we haven't allowed ourselves to sit with our own fears. Those stories are literally a mirror of the fear consciousness that we carry. And so how can we see beyond the illusion of the fear that's being perpetuated at us if we have not allowed our bodies to sit with our deeply rooted fears and insecurities and limiting beliefs and programs of the human, right? It's why this work is so courageous to do, to take on for yourself, because feeling is, it's a beautiful gift of being in the physical body. That's why we're here. But it's not easy. It's not easy to feel in a world with so much depth, but also so much light. There's so much pain on this earth plane. So much. But there's an equal amount of freedom and love on the other end of that spectrum. Like it's all here. It's all here for our experience. And I've been shown so many times after people die, right? After their body dies, exits this earth game. And I connect with their spirit, but I also connect with their egoic energy, right? It's like I'm connecting with both of it and discerning and seeing this illusionary separation of the two, even though like really the integration of it brings it back to that oneness, right? Even this separation of ego and higher self is an illusion, but it's part of this dimension, right? We live in a dimension where we chose to have segregation and separation, to literally remember the oneness of it all. And so while in this dimension that we're in right now, it is important to be able to discern the difference between love and fear, higher self and ego, right? And allow yourself to just feel it all. Like even when, it's not the opportune time to feel. Most of the time it's not the right time to feel our feels in all of the intensity, right? Like we don't want to be breaking down in the middle of public when all of a sudden an energy hits us, whether it's, depression or sadness or despair or defeat, or sometimes it's even this powerful energy of gratitude that will make some of us just break down and cry, right? But it's not because we're sad. It's just because the energy is so intense when we really allow it into our body. And so that's what it means to be authentic. Talk about being authentic. It means literally being so present in your body and allowing whatever is coming up in each now moment to come up, however it needs to come up, without apologizing for feeling your feels, right? And that doesn't mean we go project everything onto people. That's actually what happens when we are not embodied and we're not aware of our thoughts, feelings, emotions, right? That's what projection happens. Projection and deflection happens when we're actually really not embodied. And so we're reacting, right? Because now we've become that energy because we haven't allowed our body to really process it. So, when you're feeling your feels, and I'm someone that feels my feels, I can't not feel my feels anymore. It's what it is. And I've learned that, it's just energy moving through me. The emotions are not me. The thoughts are not me. They're literally byproducts of my experience in this human game. So the more we can not attach to it, that means I'm not attached to these things, right? I'm not attached to my emotion. I'm not attached to my thoughts. I know that they're not me, but I know that I need to allow them to move through this body, right? Because when they move through, they teach us so much. We are literally learning nonstop without trying to seek information, if that makes sense. We're no longer seeking the information. It's just coming through us. And then as it leaves, it's like we have this beautiful lesson that came out of it. And so I hope this helps people that are on this journey, or maybe even, just starting this journey of feeling your own energy, getting to know thyself, and really trying to discern energies, right? I don't feel like I'm an energy reader, an energy shifter. I don't identify as a energy healer anymore. More or less because I just think that feeds this narrative that people come to me for energy healing. And again, I don't feel that I heal anyone except myself. But I feel that I give people the tools and shift perspectives and awareness when I'm shifting energies in them that provide them this information to be able to do their own self-healing, right? But I literally don't feel like I heal anyone except myself. So I'm an energy shifter and I'm an energy reader. And I have fine-tuned my skills in this way that it just happens. It's just very natural for me now. I'm not trying to tap in. It's just, wow, I've embodied my energy, my energies. And so I can very easily discern all of the energies outside of me that I perceive to be outside of me because they're a mirror. And it's like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, that's love coming through. Oh, that's fear coming through. Oh, there's love, and oh, there's fear. And oh, wow, there's a combo of both, right? It's not a judgment. It's purely observation. It's just observation. But in this observation, it allows me to be able to make conscious choices on what energies outside of me do I want to play with? What do I want to dance with today? Do I want to dance with fear today? Do I want to play in that game today? Or would I rather just be in my loving state and not dance with that narrative, right? It doesn't mean I'm oblivious to all the narratives. Quite the opposite. The more embodied you are, the more aware you are of everything. You can't not be aware of it, right? So I'm very aware of everything happening on this earth plane all the time. And yeah, sometimes that can feel exhausting, but then I come back to center, I come back to my heart, and I say, there's an aspect of me that's all of that, and all of that is an aspect of me, right? So let me just sit with my feels and let me let them move through me. So that's a brief 20-something minute rundown on my kind of drop-ins of discernment, messages of discernment for you. Because I really feel like this is something coming up for a lot of us, And yeah, so hopefully it helps one person, multiple people. I know it helps me to continue to be able to discern. So just let yourself feel. That's being the courageous spirit in the human form. That's being courageous. You're allowing yourself to feel everything to the intensity that the energy needs to be felt, right? There's no timeline to it. There's no right or wrong. It's just energy. And the more you can recognize that everything here is just energy, and energy is meant to move and evolve and shift and transform, it makes it a little bit easier to navigate the challenges. So I love you, and keep being courageous, feeling warriors, because that's how we heal. Love ya.